Over the past few days, the YouTube algorithm has been annoying me about a TikTok trend, and I've been thinking way too hard about it. The trend is this whole older brother core aesthetic, short form slideshows of ancient digital camera images that remind people roughly my age of the emo older brothers and cousins we all apparently had back then. Popular subjects of these images are exactly what you'd expect. Old rock and metal CDs on ancient CD players, media shelves choked out with Xbox games even though we all know the motherfucker only played Halo 3, clothing emblazoned with flames, basically anything South Park related, pictures taken from the passenger seat of custom steering wheels and grungy gas stations at night, all the expected ephemera of Bush-era angst presented against a background of moody 2000s guitar. Commenters invariably link these images with a particular family member, a cousin who died in Iraq or a brother who died in a wreck. Some of these guys are stoner burnouts who still live at home, others have lost every shred of their grungy teenage persona and moved on entirely. The one I knew is an electrician now. He's the older brother of a childhood friend I spent a lot of time with for the first 10 years of my life. At one point, our families were close enough to spend every Christmas together, and at some point every Christmas, we'd usually go play with her brother's old Legos or watch kids' movies on a portable DVD player. On the way up to her room, we passed by his door, a massive Halo 3 poster over it, and usually some kind of super rad butt rock blaring from within. These images take me back to that time, to that door, to the unimaginably sick shit that must have been in store for my own teenage boyhood. Their illusion is compelling enough that even my cynical ass can ignore that they were taken in the fallout of 9/11, that half the songs on older bros CDs were about depression, that one of my favorite older cousins killed himself so long ago that I'm older than he was. They're the promise of a simpler time that never really existed. For every comment connecting these pictures to an existent older brother, there's a couple from kids born in the 2010s. If they can remember this era at all, it's a foggy void, yet their comments are still full of nostalgia. Some of them are self-aware at least. I've seen a couple expressing the sentiment that they know this isn't their nostalgia, yet they feel something anyways. The same way I was enraptured at their age by my parents' stories of the 80s and 90s, the same way I obsess now over novels written in the 60s. It's hard not to fall for visions of the past that choose to forget the pain. Because nostalgia isn't about returning to a time before hardship. It's about choosing to remember the things that made you happy at your lowest. I'll defend the later seasons of Lost tooth and nail because I binged them right after my cousin died, and I'll never part with the Bionicles he handed down to me a month before he killed himself. They'll always make me happy because back then nothing else could. But that's all real nostalgia based on experiences only I had. These TikTok videos are something else, and there's another genre of young commenter who kind of inspired this whole video. I saw a few people who said something like, "I'm too young to remember this, and I hope it doesn't create some false memories in my head." They're almost there. They almost get it. Older brother core is this generation's version of something like Stranger Things, or like a booth at an antique mall that exclusively sells old cans and containers. It's a melting pot of all the products folks consumed back then that gains all its power from the context we give it. It's nearly substance-free art that only has any character because of how we choose to engage with it. It's equal parts cynical, manipulative, and really fucking cool to me. Just the most basic parts of the human experience laid bare with only the slightest hint as to what we're meant to do with it. And yet, we all think about them immediately. And that's why I can't stop thinking about this picture, which I've seen in a couple compilations at this point. It was obviously taken with a digital camera, but take a look at the books. There's 2 Five Nights at Freddy's books. There's a trade of the Miles Morales series from like 2015. I think that Doom Patrol trade is recent too. And hiding way in the back is one of the Homestuck books, which only started coming out in about 2016. Also, as far as 2000s older brother bookshelves go, it's sorely lacking in Halo novels. This is fake nostalgia. This is somebody's current bookshelf, framed as though it's from 20 years ago. It's somebody in the present day identifying with how somebody else, probably an older brother, had his room decorated. This, to me, is an important image because more than anything else I've seen in these older brother core videos, it captures something raw and human. We all grow into the people we idolized as kids in some way, shape, or form. I just think we should all be more honest about it. Maybe instead of presenting your bookshelf as some relic, just post a bookshelf photo. This is a dope shelf. The absolute derangement of Tolkien before Anne Rice before an awesome vintage copy of Jaws is unbeatable, and the South Park figures really tie everything together. I would love to talk to this person about their shelf. Instead, I'm talking about their shelf, critiquing a context-free photo of it as a piece of art. Because this random person's shelf came to mean something to me. It means the past never really dies. The older brother in your life was never really the guy from these videos. Those are just the tokens of one side of his personality. Tokens you've carried into your own life if you're anything like me or the bookshelf dork. We take things we remembered for better or for worse about all the people we loved as kids and we adhere them to ourselves forever. We let the small things live on. Sure, we never forget 9/11, but even more than that, we never forget a random assortment of tiny details that stuck out to us when we were like 5 years old. I don't know, I just think it's kind of neat. Got an actual good video coming soon, I promise.